Yeah. Yeah.
LSB.
You already know. You already know.
Yo, you gotta give me another chair so I can be sitting up higher.
Unless you,
Shit's
yeah,
too
you
low.
might need a. You said you don't like the other chair,
The
right?
other chair I can't walk. I just need a pillow. I think I get some cushion for my cushion, baby. you know.
Hold on. He already in the building.
Oh yeah, that's easier.
Oh. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fellas, what's happening?
What's good,
All right, what's
Tone?
going on, my brother? How you
Man, I
feeling?
can't call it. What's good, man?
All right, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
we can hear you,
Yes,
Tone.
sir. Yes, sir. First and foremost, want to tell you, oh man, Tone Wop in the building. Hey, Tone Wop.
I can't call it. What's good, man?
Yeah, All right, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
we can hear you,
Yes,
Tone.
sir. Yes, sir. First and foremost, want to tell you, oh man, Tone Wop in the building. Hey, Tone Wop.
I can't call it. What's good, man?
Yeah, All right, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
we can hear you,
Yes,
Tone.
sir. Yes, sir. First and foremost, want to tell you, oh man, Tone Wop in the building. Hey, Tone Wop.
I can't call it. What's good, man?
All right, can you hear us?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First and foremost, want to tell you, oh man, Tone Wop in the building. Hey, what was that? Nah, we gotta get that right.
We ain't never had that problem.
Yeah, I ain't trying to come back on. Nah, cut
cut
it
it
off.
off.
That shit was crazy just now. Yo, come on.
You
y'all.
took the
Like,
speakers out?
We can't.
Wait a minute, wait, don't turn no back on. Let's get the
So what?
Come on, Ace.
Kels, you can put my I'm live on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh. Y'all can hear me? Uncle White, you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm ready to roll all ball. All ball and White's in the building. That's technical difficult. Lights went out in the building. Wasn't our fault. All we know was the setup.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry about that. Lights went out in the building. All I know was the setup. That's all I know.
Yeah, you know.
All I know was the setup.
Hey, man, Instagram does what it wants sometime, man.
Hey, listen, it is what it is, man.
Yes, sir. How you feeling today, my brother?
I'm good, man. I can't complain, man. I can't
Yes,
complain
sir.
at
Yes,
all,
sir.
man. At all.
Yeah, before we start, we just want to tell you we thank you and appreciate you for pulling up on the podcast. We always want to give people they just doing they props. So we just want to read off real quick. You know, we got Tony Chiles in the building, All Hallows alumni. You won the state championship in '85. And you was assistant coach at Fordham, St. John's,
I might have missed
Tulane,
one or two.
Drexel.
I missed a couple, Tom.
Did we miss any?
Manhattan.
Okay, right. Manhattan is here, right? Sorry, Manhattan. And what else?
Iona.
We missed Iona.
You won the state championship
in '85. And you was assistant coach at Fordham, St. John's.
I might have missed one or two.
Drexel.
I missed a couple, Tom.
Did we miss any?
Manhattan, Iona.
Manhattan is here, right? Sorry, Manhattan.
Manhattan, Iona,
Iona, we missed Iona.
Drexel. I try to do it. I try to do it in order because I get mixed up myself.
Yeah.
Manhattan, Iona, Drexel, St. John's, Fordham, and Tulane.
Okay, right. Nice. Come on, man. We have a legend in the building. How you feeling, my brother?
I'm good, man. A legend in my own mind, man.
There you go. That's all I like, though. And like when guys, and I just want to say this, like when we play ball, everybody looking to go to the biggest school, want to play on TV and play this and play that. I said, man, Tone was thinking about the bag. He went to Columbia. How you turned out going there? What's in you there, Tone?
I tell you the truth, man. I was like everybody else, man. I was thinking I wanted to go Bobby Crimmins recruited me at Georgia Tech. Wow, and to tell you the truth, he was the reason why I went to Columbia. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. When he came in to sit down with me on the visit, because Bobby Crimmins graduated from O'Hallows.
Nice.
Okay.
So that's back when he would have like 5 or 6 pros and then 2 or 3 dudes that he gave scholarships to friends. I was been one of those dudes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he sat down with me and he said, Tone, listen, man. He said, Coach Carey told me that, you got Ivy League grades, man. He said, if I was you, if you could get into an Ivy League school, I would go. And I was like, why, Coach? I said, I want to play in the Thunderdome. I want to do that and other thing. He said, listen, man. He said, 20, 30 years from now, my players will be coming to you for a job. That made sense. And that resonated, man. So at that point, I said, okay, let's see what Ivy League looking like, man.
Nice. Once again, man, we got the legend Tony Chiles in the building. So let's try to start a little bit from the beginning. How did you get started playing basketball?
Man, I don't even remember. Actually, tell you the truth, I mean, I was playing since I was about 3 or 4, man. My father was a really good player, man. From down, he grew up in Asheville, North Carolina.
Shout out to your dad, man.
Yeah, man. Mad Dog is what we call him, man.
Shout out to Mad Dog, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so he moved up to the city. My brother was born down in North Carolina, but I was born in the city. Okay. And long as I can remember, man, I had a basketball in my hand, man. I had pictures when I was in the crib with a basketball, man. So I don't even know where it started, to tell you the truth.
Mad Dog.
Yeah, for Mad Dog, for true. And then, I played with a couple of local teams, but I ended up playing with the Trotters when I was like about 8 or 9.
Shout out to the Trotters. They are legends.
Oh, tell me about it, man. We had a gang of dudes play there, man. And then we played in Small Fry in Stone Gym. Yeah. And we didn't, it was me, John Morton was on that team. And so like from all the guys from Highbridge, man. And we played Riverside, man, and I lit their ass up. I lit their ass up. Man.
That's right.
8 or 9 or something like that. So the next thing I know, back then Mr. Lloyd had all his people out, so he found out who the hell I was and where I was, and I ended up playing with Riverside. And that's where I met Don. It was me, Don, Stu Barnett. We played biddies, man. We was like 10 or 11 or something like that.
Okay.
And then when the Sun Devils came over to Riverside and played, man, I ended up developing a bond with Lamar Dyson, man. So when the Sun Devils left, I went with him. And I played with the Sun Devils.
Coach Lamar.
Yeah, that's the homie, man. I mean, I wouldn't be the player I was or the coach that I am if it wasn't for him, man. So when he left, I went with him, man, and then the rest was kind of history, man. We had some guys with John Morton, Carlton Screen, John Johnson, Rod Strickland. We had Leon Carey. We had a gang of dudes, man. I mean, we had so many guards that we had to split up to 2 teams. And 9 times out of 10, we would meet in the championship.
Wow.
So deep.
That's for sure. That's for sure, man. Look, the Sun Devils had a group of guards. You guys are awesome. I was a stadium.
Mike Boogie, Tip. I mean, we had a gang of dudes, man.
Yes, they did.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Once again, man, Tony Chiles in the building. At what age did you know you was good? Like when you realized, like, okay, I can do something with this.
I mean, I never looked at it and said I was good because, like I said, growing up in my neighborhood, I was the young dude up in Highbridge. It was my brother. It was John Morton was probably a year older than me. Troy Truesdale, Master Rob, Muggsy. So I was the young guy, man. So
I was nobody.
Yeah, so I just played, man. I mean, and I was fortunate enough for those dudes to let me play with them. And really, they let me play because I can pass, so they know how to get the ball. But I never really looked at it like, yo, I'm that dude. I could play. I mean, I could think the game and I could play. I mean, and I ended up playing with some really, really good players, man, and just, So I wasn't athletic enough. I wasn't quick to ever be on cocky because if I didn't really come with my A game, I was going to get destroyed. I mean, my graduating year, the guards was me, Ross Strickland, Boo Harvey, Gerald Green, Glenn Grant, And that's just guys I can remember at the top of my head.
Right,
so
right.
if I went out there and wasn't really on my game, I was going to get smashed because I was a little dude, man. I was a little dude. So I never was really on it like, I'm that guy. I knew I could play. I knew I was smart enough to hang with these dudes, but I never thought like, I was the guy, though.
Right,
There you go.
Right. Yes. Good, Uncle Weiss.
Oh man, like how was that winning the high school championship? How was that? What was that team? What was in your squad? That high school championship? Who was your team?
You know what's crazy about it, man? A lot of people don't remember this. People that went to Power remember, but the year before Power Memorial closed.
Yeah.
That year. So Dow Walker and Skeeter, who's also another guard on our team, and James Pryor, they was at Power Memorial my junior year. And I actually played the very last game ever played at my Power Memorial. They beat the brakes out of us. It was a snowstorm. I never but Power closed, and all those dudes really didn't have nowhere to go. But like Darryl played with the Sun Devils, Skeet played with the Sun Devils. So it was like it was probably the best recruiting job I ever did in my life.
Come on back over.
Right. So really we just said, listen, man, we play together all the time. They just came there. But it was crazy because we had 2 or 3 juniors the year before that started. And they brought in 3 really good players, James Pryor, Yada, Skeeter, and Dow Walker. So Coach Carey really was starting 5 seniors. And it was kind of, the fact that most of us played together, but everybody was a senior, everybody was trying to get scholarships, and it wasn't enough basketballs to tell you. And what he ended up doing is, he ended up taking Skeet out of the lineup, and he ended up taking my man Eric Alvarado out the lineup, and he started a sophomore, Joe Moore, who ended up being really, really good. He went to Bowling Green, played, and then he started a junior, Andrew Burrington, big, strong, white kid, set screens, really good player, but he was smart. And those guys were just happy to be on the floor. So once he kind of did that, everything kind of fell into place, man. But I look back at it, we won a city and state championship. I think we lost like 9 games that year, which is a lot for somebody to run the whole table. Yeah. But we didn't really figure it all out until the playoffs. It was crazy. In the Catholic League, they have the Bronx Manhattan playoffs, then you got the city, Brooklyn, Queens, and the city. Yeah. And we played St. Raymond that had Gary Massey, Mike McCarthy, a little white guard that was really, really good. And they beat the brakes out of us in the Bronx Manhattan City. When I say they beat us by like 35.
Right.
They beat the shit out of us. And remember, the next day we had practice. Coach Carey told everybody to go home. This was one funny. I got a lot of funny stories, but this is probably the funniest. Yeah. And, it was so funny about it. I became a coach, but I never got along with any of my coaches. The only coach that ever got along with was Lamar Dyson. Everybody else, I thought I knew everything.
Right.
So
right.
The next day after we got beat by like $1 million by St. Raymond, Coach Carey called me into the office, sent everybody home. He said, "Listen, Tony, I'm tired of your shit." He said, either you're gonna play the way that you can play, and we got a chance to win the whole thing, or you're gonna keep doing the shit you're doing, and you're just gonna be another guy that came through here and didn't get it done. So he left. I thought he went to the bathroom. So I'm sitting in the office. I'm a cocky little motherfucker. I'm like, man, I'm tired. Talking shit. He never came back. So I was in his office for 25, 30, 40 minutes. I walked around, the lights out. He went home.
Look, you didn't think about it.
No, he said what he had to say and went home, but I thought he was coming back. I thought he had some more to say. So I'm sitting around like, damn, like, for real? But he left me in there. It was the funniest shit in the world, man. And then, we went on a run after that. We beat, in the semifinals, we beat St. Raymond, the team that beat us by like $1 million a week before. We beat them in the semifinals. Okay. And then we beat Christ the King, who had won the city championship the year before in the championship.
Who they had on their squad?
They had what's my man's name? Jesus, they had Frank, Lil Frankie, Lil White Guard. Then they had my man that went to the BU with Dedrick. Not Alex Broadway the year. I can't think of his name right now because I'm getting old. But they had a real good backcourt. As juniors, they won the whole season. They beat John Johnson and them. They beat Town the year before. Yeah, John Johnson. And they had Grandpa was there, who's another Sun Devil. So they had a crew. A crew. But we beat them in the city championship. And then downstate, we played Holy Trinity that had Matt Darty. Okay. We beat them. Then when we went upstate, we beat Jackson in the semis that had Boo Harvey and the other guard that was really
Andrew Jackson.
And then we beat Binghamton in the championship game with King Rice that went to North Carolina.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
So we beat some real good teams, but after we lost by 30-something, we actually played You know what it was? We ended up being scared to lose. We got scared to lose, man.
Right.
So we were embarrassed. Like everybody was there. You know, back then, man, it was a fashion show. Man.
Yeah.
Clean shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking. My haircut was all right.
Everybody fresh.
Couple
rolled on.
Right.
Yeah, I had a couple of chicks in the crowd, man. And we got the doors beat off, man.
Right.
So, I mean,
right.
We was embarrassed. We was embarrassed.
Yeah.
We was embarrassed. Man.
Let me ask you a question. If you could set the scene in '85, how if in the park, how crazy it was playing a basketball game.
Well, back then, like now you got, Dykeman and all that, but it was so crazy because it was a combination of things. You had the chicks that was coming there to see the basketball.
Right.
But they were also coming to see the hustlers who 9 times out of 10 were either coaching the team, sponsoring the team, or then you just had, that's the one thing I can say about basketball in the Bronx and Harlem, man, you had a lot of people that just understood basketball. Even if you didn't play, you knew the game. So it was a whole different kind of thing, man. So, I mean, like the entertainers tournament used to be on 139th Street.
Right.
So it was just a different vibe because you had so many good players, man, and everybody came from all the different boroughs, and the older guys, the younger guys, and then you had King Towers that had like that. The craziest tournament ever was King Towers college freshman. They had a division. They had an unlimited, but they had a college freshman division where dudes in college came back and they played, and then it was high school dudes mixed in there, man, and it was just a different vibe, man. And because the tournaments was run by hustlers, you didn't have guys running on the court when dudes did.
Right.
Not at all. It was a level of respect. So, guys, like I had a really good hand, dude. Guys like myself and Mike had really good handles. But it wasn't about embarrassing dudes. I did the things I did because I couldn't run past nobody.
Right.
So I had to either make them fall or get them off balance or something like that.
Right.
It was more out of necessity. And Mike was kind of the same way. Neither one of us was really, really quick.
That's right.
We did all that because we wasn't running by nobody. So if we didn't get you off balance or something like that, we ain't have a shot. You know what I mean?
That's so true.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
Good, Uncle Ice.
I'm just laughing, man, because he's just told the truth, man. And you know what thing I love about basketball? I was on the bus the other day, right? The man was on the bus with his son. He goes to Cardinal Hayes, He's like, yeah, man, I don't let my son play ball with nobody who ain't in the gym 2-3 times a week, right? So I looked at him, I told him. So I took that person. So we got off the bus. We walking down Links Avenue. I told him, I said, look, see that project right there? He said, yeah. I said, 2-3 little niggas in that park. Probably to bust your son ass. Ain't gonna never practice. Ain't gonna never be on no team. They're the same age as your son.
It's so crazy you say that, man, because I sit here and I see all these guys talk about their workout guys, they this, that. I never had a workout guy in my life. I don't even know when this became like an anomaly, man. Right. It blows my mind because I'm like, first 9 times out of 10, the dudes that these workout guys never really got to nothing on the court.
Hello.
Now, some of them do it. Like, shout out to my man, one of my best friends in the game. He's one of the best workout guys in the world, Rico Hines. We worked together at St. John. Yeah, he legit, but he was a hooper. So like he played. He was UCLA. He was Pac-10 Defensive Player of the Year. So he got it. But I'm looking at some of these dudes, and then I go to the workout.
Just name one of them. It's all right. Put them out there.
I mean, I get down, man. I mean, they know.
I'm just joking.
So I go to the workouts, especially when I was coaching in college. I go to these workouts and stuff. I'm looking at these dudes. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing, man? What this got to do with basketball? Like, really, what they got to do with this? What any of this got to do with basketball? I'm sitting there scratching my head, and I'm like, man, the only person that ever worked me out was somebody I played for. Like Lamar Dyson, like, yo, Tom, man, get in the gym. You want to play varsity next year, man. So, he pulled the broomstick out. I got to shoot over the broom, finish through the pad. But we wasn't doing no drills. And then they do these drills, and they don't explain why you do it. Okay. And these guys inside out, crossover behind the back, and they just doing it. And the defender's sitting there looking at them like, man, what you doing? Like, Like, I never did a drill. Like, my handle was because somebody cut me off, I had to throw behind my back. If somebody was there, I had to throw between my legs. If someone was there, I had to spin off him. It wasn't no cones and this and that and that and balls and counting. Crazy.
I'm gonna tell you a move that's really hurting the kids' game: the Euro step.
You know what? I don't necessarily, because I'm gonna tell you what the Euro step is for us.
They're using it wrong.
Well, the Euro step back then, dudes don't have the change direction crossover.
Right.
Like, I was really, really slow. So I would go as fast as I could. Somebody caught up with me, I would just cross over real tight and get to the other side. So it's the same thing. You're getting the same work done. But now, dudes are just Euro and ain't nobody in front of them.
There you go. That's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about, Tom. There's no one in front of you. You just euroing.
Right.
No more euros, man. I mean, ain't got no more euro dollars, man. No euro. Like, what you doing? Like, you euro step, and there was nobody in front of you.
Sometimes they euro into the defender. Like, you had a leg going straight. You make the euro to go to the defender.
Out there doing the stuff they do in the workouts. The only problem is the workout, the cones don't move.
Oh, my God. Larry's?
The cones don't move. The chairs don't move. Them dummies don't move. So your move always going to work if don't nobody move.
Look, I've been to a bunch of workouts. Guess what? I never heard the trainer tell the kids? Do suicides.
How you going to work somebody out but don't work nobody out? Like, come on, man. Like,
I never see the kids do suicide. Like,
Yo,
to the running part.
Yo, man.
Yeah, suicides.
Oh,
Coaches,
man.
no, they don't even yell suicides no more. You walk in the gym, get dressed, get first thing the coaches say, line up.
So let me ask you something. Do you think today, with all of the training and everything you're saying, you think that hurts some of these young kids?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I think would hurt some of these kids.
Okay.
Two things. One, they play too many games that they're coached.
Okay.
And this is kind of add on to that. And they don't just play hawks on the gym. That's how I learned how to play. Without somebody calling a play for me, without somebody telling me where to go, I figured out how to play. And then when we go to the park, and and we all got these old school stories, man. If you lost,
right,
wasn't gonna play for the rest of the day, and that was real. So my thing is, I knew I could dribble and I could pass. My brother could really, really slash. John Morton could get to the other side. Troy Trudell, you could throw it up in the air, he's gonna dunk that. Master Rob could pretty much do whatever he wants. And we had some guy that could just rebound. So they knew whoever got the rebound, they're gonna get the ball to me because I'm gonna give the ball to the person in the right spot.
Right.
Everybody kind of figured out how to play roles. And nowadays, these kids play games and coaches call plays every single time.
Wow.
So now if the play don't work, what do? They can't get to nothing. They can't. So yeah, these workout stuff, you doing all that, okay. And then what it is you don't learn to play without the ball because all these workouts is you got the ball in your hand. What do you do when you don't have it?
Right, you're not cutting, you're not slashing, you ain't doing nothing.
I'm waiting to get the ball to give me your 15 best moves.
Wow. I mean,
yeah, you know what I mean?
15, yeah, you're right.
That's so informal that they don't even understand what you're saying right now. Because like you said, when you watch some of these games, if they ain't got the ball in their hand, they just standing around just watching.
Listen, the last few years when I was coaching, man, the biggest thing I found myself asking kids on the college level, what were you thinking? Like, just tell me what you're thinking, and I can help you. I don't understand how you got to what you just got to. What could you possibly? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is I wasn't thinking. That's
wow.
That's good. That's something good to put on. That's something good to put on the T-shirt.
I had to think every second, man, because if not, I wasn't going to be a good player. Like it got to the point where when I was at Columbia and those guys wasn't as good as the guys I played in high school, I literally had to tell everybody what to do every play. If I was going to make a pass to somebody, I'm like, yo, man, back door, I'm about to throw your bounce pass. Yo, cut off, keep going.
Wow.
Talking the whole game. These kids now can't talk. I mean, they can talk, but they don't even know what they're talking about. They'll say something, but they just they don't understand how to play. And that a lot of that comes from playing way too many coach games. You don't get a chance to go out there and think on your own.
Right. Wow. That's some dope info right there, man. Whoa, that's some dope info, man. Like I said, we got the legend, man, Tony Chiles in the building, man. All ball with Uncle Ice. This is what we do. You got something to say, Uncle Ice?
Yeah. How many years you coached in college, Tom?
24, man. I had to get out. I said I'm not going to do 20. I'm not going to do a life.
I'm going to drink.
They can't get the 25 life
I got the 24, man. I got an early release, man. You know.
Right. Oh man, that's good. That's good.
What
got you into coaching?
You know, it's so crazy. Like I said, Bobby Crimmins taught me to go to Columbia, Ivy League. I tell you the truth. Like I said, I never got along with any of my coaches but Lamar Dyson.
Right.
And when I graduated from Columbia, and it's funny, my mother, obviously, I know you guys know the story about my mother, passed.
Yes, God rest her soul, yes.
He passed February 28th, 1989, right? Excuse me, February 24th, 1989. And I had a conversation with her in January. I remember this. She's like, what are you going to do? Because it was my senior year in college. She said, what are you going to do when you graduate? I said, I'm going to go down to Wall Street, make a whole lot of money. Like, that's what I want to do. I did. So I did that getting out. And I did well. I was a financial consultant, but I just hated what I was doing, man.
It was no fun.
I didn't like who I was doing it with. I did. And you know what's so funny? My nephew Pop made me really think about it. He was playing. He just started playing. He was actually pretty decent. And he's like, Uncle Tony, you haven't been to none of my games, and that fucked me up.
Right.
Because I was running around doing all this. I said, you know what, man? So and then I realized I didn't like it, and then some things went on. You know, my pops got jammed up, my brother got jammed up. I'm like, I'm not doing this shit no more.
Right.
So I left, and I had this mentor, the guy who paid my tuition at Ohio. His name was Walter O'Hara. He just passed away about 2 years ago. And any decision I had made in my life up until his passing, literally, I would have to sit down and talk with him. And this was one of them. So I knew I didn't want to do what I was doing. And he said, well, what do you want to do? I said, oh, you know what? Why don't you go back to Ohio's, you know, teach a class, help Coach Carey out till you figure it out. So I like, all right. So I went back, and I went back to Ohio's. I taught history and math.
Wow.
And I taught some real, like kid was a really good player. Ended up going to Manhattan. That's how the story gonna come back. And
Right.
over at Millbank, you know,
Right.
Eddie Lacaille. A lot of those guys, they're my friends to this day.
Right.
And I tell people, the most fun I've ever had is when I was teaching. I ain't make a whole lot of money, but it was the
Have
most
fun.
fun I ever had.
Right.
So I got there, and you know, I was helping Coach Carey out, coaching. Kind of liked it, but never thought about getting into college. But the kid Tariq Thacker that I just mentioned, when I graduated, when I was down at Wall Street, Walter O'Hara again, the guy who paid my tuition. He said, Tone, it's time to pay it back. You need to get a kid and sponsor a kid. So I didn't know any, so they put me with Tariq Thacker. So I paid his tuition for 4 years.
Nice.
His senior year in high school, I ended up being at Ohio's, so I coached him.
Nice.
So he was like, I wouldn't say my son because I was young, but he's like my little nephew, like my little homie.
Yes.
So I looked out for him. So when it was time for him to get recruited, I was the guy that sat in the recruiting meetings. Because anybody know Coach Carey, he don't like that shit. He hate talking to people. So he like, Tony, you deal with that bullshit.
Right.
So I sat down with all the Tariq's guys that came in the recruiting visits. And that's when Fran Fischella was at Manhattan College. And Fran was hot back then. He was a hot young coach.
Right.
You know, the next this. So he comes in. I don't really give a fuck about any of that because I'm like,
right.
I'm not impressed by you. I'm not trying to be.
Right.
I'm not, you know.
I try to get the job. I'm just talking to you.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that if my little man go there, that I'm grilling him. I'm like, what happens if he gets hurt? You got a guard there in front of him. Da da da. And he's like, you know, I'm really stumping him, but he's, you know, he's on his game.
Right.
So right after that meeting, he called Coach Carey. Said, you know, does Tony want to get into college coaching? And I was like, so he didn't have a position. So the kid Tariq ended up going there. So after Tariq's freshman year, he called Coach Carey back again and said, well, you know, I got a position. I want to talk to Tony. And Coach Carey's like, I don't really think he want to get into college. Because to tell you the truth, I didn't believe in the whole NCAA. I thought they exploited kids, the whole shit everybody talk about.
Okay.
Right.
So,
respect that.
So Fran was like, well, you know, I just want to interview him. If you don't like it, whatever. So I go up there, and he hit me with some jewels. He says, listen, man, I think you'd be really, really good. He said, you know, you got a great rapport with the kids. You understand basketball. He said, everybody in New York know you. They fuck with you. So the recruiting part of it would be an easy thing for you. He said, do this. He said, give me a year. If you don't like it, dust off your Ivy League degree, go downtown and make $1 million.
Right.
And I ended up doing it for 24 years. So he knew me a little bit better than I knew myself at that point.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, that's like I said, I got into coaching. I never, in my wildest imagination, thought that I'd be a coach in general, rather less a college coach at a different level.
Right, man. Listen, man, that's all.
Seen the love that you
Legendary,
had,
yeah.
passionate, man. How the kids responded to you, man.
I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. It's funny, man. I mean, people used to call me coach all the time, and I would tell this joke that I say to this day. I said, man, I'm not a coach. I just play one on TV because I never really saw myself as a coach.
Right.
I was like married to the business. I never like this is the only thing I could do. So that's why, like, when I got out, people like, yo, Tony, you getting back? I'm like, nah. I said, I always told myself when I felt that I wasn't relevant, when I felt that I wasn't making that kind of difference, because I really stayed in it for the kids. I really felt that kids in college athletics needed somebody like me that had a story to tell, that had a brother that was a hustler.
Yeah.
Right.
Father
They can relate
who
to,
had a
especially
father
for the inner city.
You know, like, so I knew that there was nothing that those kids could tell me that I feel like I couldn't relate to. And then I thought that was something that was missing when I got in. And when I felt that the game either changed or that I got too old or I wasn't relevant, that I would do something else. And that's what ended up happening. So I like I said, people call me coach. I'm like, nah, I don't play coach. I'm like the Holiday Inn commercial. I just play one on TV.
Right. Let me ask you a question, because what you just said is that was great. How important is coaching in basketball, and also how important is having a coach that the players can relate to.
I mean, I think it's invaluable, but I think it's changing now. And it's unfortunate because when I first got in, it wasn't. I mean, you could make some money, but you wasn't making a whole lot of money. But as you can make a lot of money as a college coach now.
Yes.
So now guys like myself that can be that mentor, that can be that, person that the kids can relate to, kind of get caught up in the next paycheck. So now you ain't really looking out for what's best for those kids.
Right.
You're looking out for what's best for you. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to get out, because there was God. I mean, it's a nasty business. It's cutthroat and this, that, and other thing, recruiting. But I'm like, I mean, my hypocrisy can only go so far, and I'm not going to do that. That ain't going to down. Like it's funny when we got to let go at Tulane. I interviewed for a couple of places, and I won't mention where. But people like, well, who are you going to bring with you? I'm like, huh?
What recruit?
Right. Yeah, who I'm going to bring?
What recruit?
Mm-hmm. And anybody that know me, man, I don't give a fuck about a job. Really.
What you told him, Tom?
I said, listen, man. I said, if you're bringing me here to bring a specific person, we probably need to end this interview because I'm not the person for you.
Right.
If you bringing me here to get dudes, I said, that's easy for me. I said, just check my track record. I've had dudes everywhere I've went. But if you want me to tell you, for me to get this job, I got to bring this person. I said, I don't want the job. I said, because let's say it don't work out.
Right.
Now we starting on a bad relationship. You looking at me all side-eyed, I'm looking at you all side-eyed, and that ain't going to work. And I said, so, we don't even really talk anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the game's changed a lot, man. It's changed a lot.
Yeah, man. I mean, has it changed for the better or for the worse, in your opinion?
It depends on who you're talking to.
It changed for the better for the kids? They get a little stipend now, don't they?
I mean, I'm not worried about the money aspect, because if you're good at what you do, you're going to get paid one way or another. I'm not worried about that.
Right.
I'm
just talking about the kids.
I mean, not really. I mean, they get money. That's a good part. They can get these a lot. That's a good part. But it develops a level of entitlement. You can't coach them because now they pimping you. Like, yo, man, if you don't get me this NLI money, I'm going to
you
and now you can go on the transfer portal and play right away. Once upon a time, if you transferred, you had to sit out. So now you recruit your team while you recruit new players. You recruit the guys to stay. So it's almost like an expansion team every year, because you never know who's going to be there.
Right.
So it's good. It's good for the kids because they got a level of freedom and they can move around. But it fucks the game up, man, because now these bigger colleges, they're not recruiting high school kids no more, because they say, you know what, I'm going to
transfer portal.
I'm going to get a dude that went to say the MAC, that's first team all league as a junior, and he's a man. I'm not going to recruit a high school kid. So now kids that are in high school, unless you that dude, you're not getting recruited.
Wow.
So it's kind of changed the dynamics of recruitment and how all this stuff is done.
It's business.
I'm glad.
It's like the NBA.
It's always been business, but it's more business. It's always been a business for the coaches. Now it's business for everybody. The handlers, the coaches, the kids.
Everybody.
Wild, wild West.
Yeah, I heard it. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna mention them, but one of these kids at one of these universities, they had gave him like $200,000, right? He told them, if y'all don't give me another $300,000, I'm leaving.
Oh, I know the kid exactly you talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And he already said somebody else had offered me XYZ from a kid from, I'm not gonna mention his name, but was that from the Kansas offered him more money.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And what's crazy about it is you can have an agent to get the NLI money. So now you got these dudes out there just pimping everybody, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like I couldn't do that.
Right. Yeah.
Like
right.
Some people do anything for some money, Tom.
I couldn't do that. Listen, I used to say this all the time in recruitment, and people used to laugh, man. And my wife was in the kitchen. She probably look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, man, I eat pussy. I don't know how to suck no dick.
Right.
I don't know how to
facts.
Right.
So I'm not gonna be sitting here kissing you. First of all, I don't think you're that good anyway.
Right.
Let's call it for you really ain't that good. So if I'm gonna be giving you this kind of money, you got to really be getting off, man. Because I play with you really not that good.
Right.
And it's crazy, man. But
it's nasty out there, man.
Yeah, the nature of the game.
Nasty.
The nature of the game.
Yeah, man. Like I said, once again, man, Tony Chiles in the building, man. Like I said, a lot of knowledge.
Great interview, man. I love the conversation. They're gonna love it when they see it.
Let me ask you a question. Since you played point guard, who you like today in the NBA as far as point guards?
The top 5.
Well, it ain't really a whole lot of point guards anymore because everybody is guards. I mean, Chris Paul is great. I mean, Chris Paul is what a point guard is, man. He manages the game. So he can play the way he's playing for another 4 or 5 years. His body's breaking down, but he manages the game.
Right.
He gets guys in. I'm gonna tell you the truth. People don't realize that's why Phoenix didn't want to give DeAndre Ayton that money, because Chris Paul made him look great.
Right.
They're like, shit, Chris ain't gonna be here for another 2 years. So he's just gonna be a regular dude when we get somebody else in here. So he manages the game. I like a lot of the ball brother at Chicago that's always hurt.
I love him. I love Alonzo.
He really knows how to point guard. He really knows how to run a team. I like his brother. I love them both. It was a little different, but they, I mean, the point guards are like Luka and guys like that now, man. They ain't really no point guards out there. People are pissed off at Luka's game. I think Luka's great because he manages every aspect of the game.
He's a killer.
Okay, explain that, because people may not understand.
Well, he's out there playing NBA basketball like he's playing 2K. He has controlling hands, and he's literally moving the pieces. He's creating shots for guys, telling them where to go. He's up in the air. Everybody says he's jumping up in the air. He's jumping up in the air because he knows that 4 or 5 guys are going to jump for him. Now there's 2 or 3 guys that if they catch his naked, they're going to make it. But if they got a face, they're not going to make it. So he's getting guys naked open shots and getting guys paid, because some of these guys ain't worth that much.
Fact.
He got brushed and
wide open looks. They getting them wide open looks, so now they're going to get paid.
Right.
By somebody who don't have a Luka, and they're going to be like, man, it's fool's gold, man,
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
But I don't think there's a lot of true point guard in the sense of what I think of point guard.
So who's the best you ever seen?
Best point guard I ever saw?
Yeah.
Shit, that's hard to say, man. That's hard to say, man.
So who are your top 5 of all-time NBA point guards before you leave?
Tiny,
Nate Archibald.
And because his game just went so many different levels, man. He the only person that ever led the league in scoring and assists. And then got to Boston with Larry and those dudes. They won championships. He just became a great facilitator, but he just really, really understood the game. Magic.
Yes.
And I tell you the truth, I didn't like Magic's game when he first came out, because I was a point guard. I'm like, my father was like, yo, you 6'9", get your ass around the basket.
Right.
He won me over. He made me a believer.
Okay.
Isaiah Thomas is probably one of my all-time favorites.
I love him.
Zeke don't get the credit he deserves.
Gary Spring was up here talking about Zeke.
He don't get the credit because he was a sore loser.
Okay.
That's right. If he didn't do what he did when they lost to Chicago, he's on the dream team. He's probably the best little small point guard to ever play the game.
That's right.
His reputation, who he did it to, is why he don't get it. I want to be Isaiah Thomas. That's what I thought. Yeah, he was like, Isaiah was an unbelievable point guard, but if he need to go get 30 or 40 to win the game, he'd do that.
Right.
And that's when you got a real legit point guard, a guy that averaged 17, 18, 19. But if they got to go for 30 or 40, they can do that at any given time. Yes. And I tell, like, my son is in college now. He's a sophomore, he's a point guard. And my youngest son is going to be a tall guard. And I always tell him, I said, you got to understand as a point guard that you got to get other people off. You can't be concerned with shooting the ball. I said, because the only person that touches the ball every time down
is you.
Yes.
So you got these guys, these point guards averaging 30 and 40 because they shoot it every time. But now you got other guys that got to do the rebounding for you. They got to set the screens for you. They got to, help you when you get beat. They not happy. That's one thing that I was really, really good at. I kept everybody happy.
Yes.
Like it's fun, and I'm starting to get all these memories. Whenever I do these podcasts, I start to get memories because I've played basketball my whole life.
Great.
Going into my junior year in summer rucker, like the regular rucker, not pro rucker.
Okay.
I got MVP. We had a stat crew, but I didn't score in the championship game. I didn't score. And when they called my name, I was surprised. I looked at Lamar, like, what? He said, Tone. Afterwards, he said, Tone, the people that voted was like, yo, this guy has something to do with every single thing y'all did on the court. And I didn't see that. I just saw that that's what I did. But somebody recognized that and gave somebody. When the last time you heard somebody get MVP and didn't score a point?
Right. Never heard of that.
I don't even know if I got that game, in all honesty.
Right.
But like, that's what point guards, what I see point guards, guys that can really get off if they want to, but they know this big dummy dude that's blocking all these shots is getting elbowed and getting hit every time somebody says, if I don't get him some easy ones,
you're stopping the rebound and everything.
I mean, he's gonna rebound, but he ain't gonna be happy about it.
Right. Gotta keep him happy.
happy rebounder is a more productive.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I mean, but I don't think there's a lot of point guards in the league like that nowadays, man.
Yeah, it's definitely not. But you listen, you got two more. We ain't gonna let you run. You got two more.
Shit.
You had Magic, you had Tiny, you had Zeke.
Stockton.
Hold on now. Hold on. I need you to spend a minute on John Stockton because I argue with a lot of the young
Don't
dudes,
give no love,
and they don't understand. Can you please help them understand why John Stockton was so good?
Because he was on a dream team and not Isaiah. He shouldn't have been on that team. That's neither here nor there. So that's one part. And also he's a little white dude.
right?
I hate to say it that way, but people look at him, but he was tough as fuck. I mean, he would take your knees out if you tried to ball screen him. He got the ball wherever it had to be. He made people better. I mean, he was just a winner. I mean, he ain't win no championships because he came along during that time when that guy was playing and everybody was losing. But
MJ.
I mean, he was a point guard, man. And my fifth, I gotta say, Clyde Frazier.
Clyde the Glide. Huh?
How
Like
good,
Clyde game, Clyde was smooth.
how good was Clyde Frazier, man?
People don't realize how good he was, man. And like everybody talk about that Willis Reed game when Willis Reed got hurt and came back on the court. Willis had like 2 points. Clyde went for like 40, 20, and 12.
Clyde his own sneakers. Stop playing, man.
He never really averaged but like Willis wasn't ready. I'm the point guard. I'm gonna go get 40 because we need to win this game.
Right.
And, I mean, he just was tough, man.
I like Clyde.
Tough. He shot it. I mean, he took great shots. He got guys great shots. He guarded his position. And he was the reason why they talk about one of the great teams, like this team, all the pieces fit. They talk about the 69 Knicks team. He was that reason. Like they had the Butcher and all those other guys. They were good players. They weren't great, but he made them great. He made them great, I thought.
Yes. Hey, man, listen, that's a great
I like Clyde, man.
greatest 5 point guards. That's a nice list right there, man.
That's a different list.
That's a nice list. Now, before we get you out of here, I got to ask you this question. You come from that era of basketball where in the streets, man, the basketball was at its finest, at its height. Give me 3 of the best you've seen in the streets.
Streets
Or in
or
the streets. The
No,
streets.
in the streets. Nothing with the NBA. They didn't make the NBA, whether they made college or not.
well, I got 2 different categories. I got streets
Okay.
and I got high school.
Okay. Let's go. Let's do it.
High school, the best player I ever saw was Lloyd Daniels.
Sleepy Lloyd.
Before
Please
he got-
explain.
Best player I ever saw.
Give us a story.
I mean, he was a point guard. He wasn't the smartest person in the world. Let's put it that way. But basketball wise, there was no one smarter than him.
Wow.
Okay.
Duper intelligent.
Yes.
Put it from the hash mark, which was unheard of back in the days of New York City players. He had a point guard handle. He would rebound the ball. He was 6'9" legit, dunk on you, hawk, played the pass. I mean, he just was just the stuff that he was Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Right.
Lloyd was special.
Magic Johnson with a jump shot. Legitimate. My 1A is Kenny Anderson.
TA.
Bananas. I mean, I remember seeing Kenny in the 8th grade. It was long story. He went to Malloy. Coach Malloy was All Hallows grad, and I went to All Hallows. The coach All Hallows was Malloy grad. So I kind of like mentored Kenny growing up when he got in high school. But I saw him when he was in 8th grade. My senior year, Lamont didn't have a team, so me, John Morton, and Darryl Walker traveled with Riverside. That AAUs, I forgot. It might have been in Florida.
Right.
And he played on the 8th grade team, 9th grade team actually. And Malik Seeley was a freshman, and he was in 8th grade. And the older team went to the game, and skinny little kid, man. I mean, but he came down one time, man, and I remember this play. I remember for the rest of my life. Came down, somebody tried to steal it from me, crossed over. Another kid tried to steal it, threw it behind his back. No, threw his leg. Somebody else reached, threw it behind his back. And the last guy cut him off, and he cuffed it with his left hand and threw it behind his back, over his shoulder, off the backboard. Malik came down the lane and dunked it. And I'm like, there's no way in hell this kid is in the 8th fucking grade.
I'm telling you, this shit.
No, I mean, he never broke stride. Like that shit he did to Dan Bobby Hurley.
Right.
It was like that. He never broke stride. It was like he was out there doing an individual with Combs. But people was moving. It was great.
When I go home tonight, I'm watching Kenny A.
Oh, listen, it's crazy.
I'm keeping
now
it real,
in the streets.
Yeah,
in the street, and the baddest motherfucker I ever seen, man, was Pearl. King Tower was classic.
Wow.
It was bananas. I'd say Pearl. The most explosive guy I ever seen was Chris Brooks.
Okay.
God bless the dead.
With the anti-gravity.
Both of those guys. The toughest guy I probably seen was Carlton Hines. God bless the dead on him too.
Yes.
Let me think. Ookie Wilson.
Okay.
Oh, I love him.
I got to put my homie up there, Steve Bird, all day. That's the homie.
Come on, we had him on.
If I don't mention him.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? And another dude, if his knees didn't go out, he would have been Gary Springer.
Hey, hold on. We had them both up here together. Steve Bird, Gary Springer.
This motherfucker here, man. If people were going to the pros out of high school when he's coming out, he was the number one player in high school, coming out of high school.
Hey, hold on, Mr. Chiles. He said he jumped higher going backwards.
Oh yeah, no, he used to do this shit. It was just like it was a signature dunk. He would take off frontwards from like the dotted, like the inside the dot on like the free throw line, and turn in the air and dunk on you backwards. The craziest shit I've ever seen in my life, man.
Yeah, that's Gary.
I go up to those Iona games. I was in high school. I was like, yo, these motherfuckers. First, I'm like, what are y'all doing here, man? Like Eggman.
Iona.
Well, Eggman, God bless the dead. Eggman was a monster getting the motherfucker there. But I'm like, yo, this is crazy that these motherfuckers is here, man.
Yeah.
Like Gary was so 6'7", strong as shit, jumped out the gym, nice mid-range shot. Like if the dude was going straight from the league, he'd have went to the league. But he went to Iona, man, and his knees were just horrible. And he still ended up getting drafted like second, third round.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was a lot of good dudes, man. I mean, Wendell Alexis, Alex Bro. I mean, it was tons. I mean, like the 80s basketball in New York street, high school, and that's when the Big East was really just going crazy.
Love the Big East.
It was just bananas.
Walter Berry and St. John's. But let me tell you, Gary told us a story about your man, Zeke.
Oh.
He said he played against Isaiah Thomas. He said Isaiah gave him about 50 or 60. He said we put everybody on Isaiah.
Oh, yeah. That's about right, yeah.
It was what was back in the day?
BCI.
He said, man, every time, he said, you know I jump hop. He said, yeah, I'm gonna block this little nigga. He said, Isaiah came to the basket. He said, I jumped. Isaiah put that arm out, laid the shit out of me. Gary like, damn.
Can't jump higher than that ball.
I told you, he said he put everybody on Isaiah. He said Isaiah gave him about 50 or 60, man.
No, listen, I think right up there with Magic, man. It's the best point guard I've ever seen.
I've seen Isaiah. We see Isaiah fall on the floor, shake people. Isaiah was a monster. The young kids don't know about Isaiah.
He could do anything he wanted with the basketball.
Yes, he could.
He wanted to.
Yes. Once again, man, we have Tony Chiles. Like I said, my brother, we ain't gonna keep you much longer. Hey, man, we really appreciate you coming through, man.
But before y'all get me up, y'all not gonna ask me about my brother, man. Y'all the first podcast.
Oh, hold on.
For what? We came to touch your toe.
Yeah, man.
We ain't come to talk about that. We ain't doing that, man.
Hey,
we don't do that.
Oh, boy, we talk about basketball.
Let's enjoy your night, brother.
Hey, man, we trying to build a platform for brothers like y'all that meant so much to the street ball and to basketball, just in general, college and everything.
And you ain't got to hear the other bullshit about the personal life.
Talk about the game.
Now, listen, I'm an open book, man, but I appreciate you guys, man.
You know that, Tone. Love you, man.
I've known Don since I was about 10, man, so this is like us catching up, man.
I told everybody, I said, man, we played for Lamar. I said, I played with Tone. We had one play. What was it? Ice cream. Give Tone the ball and clear it out. Yeah. And guess what? No one complained. As long as we won, Tone passed the ball, and when he was, like you said, he always passed the ball. As long as we won, because Tone was busting their ass. Tone scored all day. Give him the ball. Let's win. Nobody care about who scored all the points. We wanted to win. We had a good team too.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Hey, man, Tone, thank you, my brother.
Thank you, Tone. Appreciate you, bro.
Man, I appreciate you guys. You guys do a great job, man. I've seen a couple of your podcasts, man. I appreciate what you're doing, man. And in all honesty, it's needed, man, because it's a nasty game out there now, man. Somebody got to clean it up.
Yeah,
yes,
man.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
hey, that's what we're trying to do. Thank you, man. And with the help of this
somebody just put something up there, man. My man Harold Stockton, one of the original Sun Devils, man.
Tell me we won him.
Wow.
Bad boy.
Harold Stockton, he was Harold Stockton, the Providence or Georgia
somebody
Tech?
put up there. Ice Cream. Yeah, John Johnson and Hal Starks. Yeah.
Yes, John Johnson was a killer from Talent
Sir,
Town, man.
yes, sir.
Yes.
Once again, all boy with Uncle Ice, man, a legend, man. Tony Chiles, man. Till next time, man. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, Tone. Anytime you guys do want y'all, man.
All right,
Thank you, man.
God bless.
Yo, man. Come on now.
The game was different, man.
Come on
The
now.
game was different, and nothing to take away from the kids. Now I love basketball.
all.
Ain't nothing changed. It's just a different era, man. It's a different era, man. Shout out to everyone.
Listen, shout out to Tony Chiles, man, for taking time out of his day and pulling up the all ball with Uncle Ice.
Yes.
Let me explain something to y'all. We really appreciate everybody. We thank everybody. And as y'all know, we don't do no paperwork. We don't write down no notes. We don't do none of that. This is all love. And we invite everybody, whoever y'all know that want to come up here and talk basketball and give their history. That's all. You heard what he said. Y'all asked about my brother. Nah, we
You're
ain't
all
into
welcome,
that.
Man. You're
Everybody's welcome. All ball. That's all we talk about is the game.
Football, basketball, soccer,
yes,
baseball,
men, women, young, old. You're all invited.
You're all.
Hey,
welcome.
Uncle Ice, that was a great interview, man.
I told you, man.
Did you hear all the knowledge? Hold on,
you,
was he
bro.
hilarious about the trainers? Hilarious.
It's the truth. That's why all the cats say that because they ain't getting no trainers and they still went to colleges.
Hold on.
It is what it is.
And let's
man.
not get it misconstrued. He graduated from Columbia, y'all.
Yeah.
He graduated from Columbia. Can we say that again?
But you heard what they said. You want to work? You want to coach? You want to go down to Wall Street and make some millions?
Come on, man. So we got
to get an education, guys, and young ladies to stay in school. School is very important.
So once again, we need y'all to get this platform big enough to get it out there. Because like I said, come on, man. Did y'all hear the legendary stories?
Yeah, man.
Did you hear the legendary players he played with and played against? Come on.
Legendary jobs he held.
Coaching for 24 years.
Hey, man.
And look how important he was. Big shout out to my guy, Nakia Miller, man. My guy, Fab. He was in the comments. And I'm going to tell you exactly what he said. That's the OG.
That's right.
Need guys like that. So just imagine if these schools, even NBA teams, had guys like that they can relate to.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Just like in our neighborhood, we need teachers that our kids can relate to, man.
Yeah,
it is what it is, man.
So once again, man, shout out, man, Tony Chiles, man, a legend, man. Like that was legendary.
Yes.
And we appreciate everybody. Yeah. Till next time, no telling who we gonna have up here next week, baby.
I mean, all ball and Uncle Ice in the building,
hey,
baby.
Man, we doing our thing. So next time, peace.
Love.
That was great.
That was awesome, dude.
That was fire. Nah, that was fire. Hilarious.
Told you, man.